When it comes to Word, and I'll say that again later on Excel, the challenge is deciding what to show and what not to show. So there are so many features and tools and tips and tricks. But what I've done is I've picked a few to or based on my clients' recent needs and requests that I'm going to share with you. Going to start with something maybe a little bit odd, you may think. To me, that's the starting point. Now, the whole purpose of these sessions are, first of all, to make you aware, to give you a demonstration, but also to help you to navigate better in your app, to or your program, to make it easier, quicker, faster, more productive. And as I said yesterday as well, the old cliche, working smarter, not harder. So that's what we're trying to do here. So when it comes to something like Microsoft Word, I can hear you guys saying, well, I used Microsoft Word since I was like starting with computers. What is there to learn? What is there to show? Our emphasis is on AI, although Microsoft Word doesn't have so many as Excel, particular AI components built in. But I'm going to show you whatever I can regarding that, as well as some extra things that I found my clients really struggle with or don't know exactly how to use it, or even, and that's the awareness part, don't know that that exists. Because if one tend to look at something that we're going to look at today, um, table of content and numbering style, one tend to think, oh my goodness, I cannot do that. And I must admit, it's not difficult, but it's also a little bit tricky here and there. But if you know how to do it, then it's plain sailing all the way. So stick with me, but I'm going to start at a very weird angle, or from a very weird angle. Three things. Make sure your account is in a proper way set up, and I'll show you in a moment. Secondly, go have a look at your options, and I'll show you some two at least valuable points there, all to better um, navigate. And I'll also show you the toolbar because we're looking at tips and tricks, things that can make it easy for us, immediately accessible. So we'll look at that. And then the tools I'll share with you is Dictate, numbering style, table of contents, and don't know why that one popped up on top afterwards, the read aloud. Now, the top two definitely is AI, definitely. But I'll say a little bit more about that in a second. So let me end the slideshow and head straight over to Microsoft Word. Here it is. Microsoft Word for Windows. Sorry, there it is. And I want to show you, first of all, let me just go for a blank document. What I mean when I say account, options, and toolbar. When I get, how many you know, I love, it's a passion of mine, taking a laptop out of the box and set it up and customize it for my client. And these three things I'm going to show you are the things included in setting up and spoil my clients. They don't even know that it's been done. They don't even know maybe that it exists, but they can then just start. When I hand it over to them, they can just start and enjoy the program, the apps, the computer, because it's all set up. Toolbars, shortcuts, whatever else, and what goes with that. So now, the reason I included accounts in this session, if I go to File in Microsoft Word, 365 by the way, and I go to the account option, so it's right at the bottom, you'll notice mine is if you have a look at the right-hand side, the one I'm using now, but it's perfectly similar than the family or personal pack. I explained that yesterday in briefly. But mine is a Microsoft 365 apps for business. Right. The important part here is what account are you signed in with? It happens so often, so I have to make you aware of this. It happens so often that you have a family or a personal pack, pardon me, and now you move over to a business pack. So as you know, we're going to show you a lot of business apps of Microsoft 365. So you often have your business pack, but you still signed in on your personal pack or your family pack rather. So please just be aware of that. If you have any questions regarding that, reach out to me via Elmarie or straight to me, doesn't matter. And let me help you with that and explain that a little bit more. Fact of the matter is, I just want to make you aware. If you go to File and you go to Account, on the right-hand side, it will indicate which package you have. And secondly, on the left-hand side, it will show you what you have been signed in on. Exactly that Microsoft account. I'm also mentioned yesterday, it's totally free. The creation of to create a Microsoft account is free, but you need to buy the license for whichever package you prefer. Next on, so let's just head back to the presentation and let me show you options. Definitely, let's have a look at that. So once again, on File and then Options, there's a whole list of options you can set. Three things that I want to point out in Microsoft Word. First of all, when you go to the proofing option, please, this is a suggestion, switch off ignore words in uppercase. Otherwise, Word will ignore in the spelling the words that are typed in uppercase, capital letters. So rather switch that off, otherwise it's going to miss the misspelled words in Microsoft Word. Secondly, the save options is important. Please make sure that the default local file location is your OneDrive if you use the package. Because you need to have, and we'll talk about that when we look at Windows later on in the sessions, but you need to have a default file location. So when you click on save, that you don't by mistake save it onto your laptop's or computer's hard drive. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but if you have the 365 package, please make use of the OneDrive. It takes everything on your computer and it backs it up automatically and save it onto your OneDrive. Very, very handy. And now for the biggest part. And if you don't know this, then you're going to have some trouble. So I had someone contacting me the other day. She tried to open an attachment, Microsoft Word attachment. It's just not showing, or she can't see anything on the screen, or it gave her an error. So sometimes it gave her an error, and sometimes it sort of looks like it's opening, but nothing happens. Only one reason for that. When you go to the Trust Center in your file options, the Trust Center settings, and guys, this is a suggestion. Don't go and fiddle with this if you have an IT team looking after you. Go and test it with them if this is allowed in your company policy. Personally, I do this. I set the settings so that I don't have any problems opening attachments or any files that I get, that I don't have any interruptions. So I'm going to start at the bottom. First of all, make sure that ask me, don't block things. Check it with your IT. Ask me when you want to open something or create something and there's some sort of a security issue somewhere. Ask me what to do. And then you go ask your IT if you're not sure, or you can reach out to us. Also, the other one I want to mention, once again, show the message board. If there's something that opens and it's a problem or problematic, just don't never show, because then you won't know. And that's where you get stuck, as my client had the same problem with that. So show the message board, protection view. Check this with your IT. It will be by default switched on, switch it off. So that everything can show, everything can open, you don't have any problems there. My macro settings, once again, it's to enable you to open whatever you have to open. Enable there, it will not be by default on enable. And that's about it. The others are, you don't have to fiddle with that. But please, please, please go and check that with your IT guys. But that is my suggestion. This enable everything, switch off all the protection of that particular document. But be aware, if you have a security software in place, it will also prevent you or help you from opening things that are not legit. Disclaimer, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm suggesting that, but you have to test it with your IT person. Please do that. If there are some IT people on the line, I think there are. I really have to say that to you. Cool. So that's options. And last but not least, what about navigation? How can I use my Microsoft Word program and not have to fiddle around with short with options, functions rather, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't want to fiddle around and not find what I often use. Now, you'll notice also one of the things I set immediately. You'll notice on the top right left-hand corner of your screen, you have what we call a quick access toolbar, and it will be much shorter than this one. I prefer having it at the below the ribbon. This is the ribbon, all these buttons here on this home ribbon or home menu. I prefer to have it there because then I have more space and I can add shortcuts as I need it. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So these are the ones that I often use. So instead of me fiddling around, say, was it on layout? Where did I find that resizing or orientation? Was it here? Was it there? Where was it? I don't have time for that. I want to do my work, and Word has to help me with that because it's an intelligent program and it's getting even more and more intelligent with the AI components being built in. So yes, if you are someone that uses the orientation option from portrait to landscape on a regular basis, I strongly suggest take your quick access toolbar to below the ribbon because then you have more space and it doesn't interfere with your title bar. And then go to that particular button that you use quite often and look at this. Right click on it and click on left button again. Quick add to the quick access toolbar because this is the quick access toolbar. And look at that. Now you don't have to do 2 or 3 clicks and or find something. You can just, if you want to change this, let me just go a little bit smaller here to show you what it looks like. This document is now, or page is now in portrait mode. If you go to orientation and you go to landscape, Kadwa, it changes it to landscape. It saves you at least 2 clicks and it's easy accessible. Okay, you can only fit so many in there, but at least you can add the ones that you often use. I really hope if I go back to my presentation, I'm not going to do a full slide here. I'll just, or slideshow. There you go. That setting the right account, having that in place, I found that all over the show when I log onto a computer, that is the problem, one of the biggest problems. Setting the options, especially enabling you to open like attachments and fiddle with the toolbar. As a matter of fact, it is the quick access toolbar. There you go. I'll just add that. That is a handy option to have. Right, now let's go and look at some tools. I'm going to show you the read aloud. It's absolutely a AI feature, been around for a long, long time. Dictate how to then speak to your computer or to Word rather, and how to listen to Word. Especially if you don't have time, if you're busy fiddling with each other, Word can read whatever the text is to you. Or if you have a hearing problem or anything like that, Word absolutely caters for that with its intelligence built in. I'll also show you a numbering style. Um, so I need to introduce to you the styles because I know in any case, my clients, they don't use it. And it's so, so handy to help you to format, to help you to have a proper numbering style. People always fiddle with that. And I'll show you, I might even have similar problems there because it's not plain sailing when you use it, but it's not difficult. It's just a little bit tricky. And I'll also show you how to make a table of contents. So here I go. Here I go. So what I'll do is I'm going to use a online version of Microsoft Word. When you have the 365 package, you have the desktop options and you have the online package. The reason for the online in this case is the fact that I want to talk to my computer and I want to use the built-in microphone, and I also want to listen to my computer via Word, and I need the speakers for that because I am working on Apple and on Windows here, so it's easier to do it here. So here we go. Here I have something already typed and something that I want to mention to you. When we think of AI as something new, we often do, but it's actually been part of the apps like Word and Excel for a while. Instead of me mentioning this to you, let me go to the View tab in the online version of Word and ask Word to read this to me. And here it is, the immersive reader. I switch it on. The screen is going to change. Don't worry. It looks weird, I know. But over here on the right-hand side, you can, oops, now it's only showing me some tips, showing me exactly what I want to show you. I can decrease the font a little bit. Oh, that's better. I can even change the font style, but that is not for today. So I'm going to choose, first of all, here right at the bottom, whether I want a female or a male voice. How cool is that? And then, of course, you can determine the speed. You know, that's old story of the rabbit and the other guy, the slower one. Cool. So once I've decided the speed and which voice I want, you don't even have to do that if you don't want to. I'm going to...
We often think of AI as something new, but it's actually been part of apps like Word and Excel for quite a while. While new features are always being added, AI companions like ChatGPT are a more recent development, only 2 years old and definitely a big leap forward.
There you go. So Microsoft Word can read stuff for us, and that's absolutely true. We so often think AI is new. AI is not new. The AI companions like ChatGPT, yeah, that's fairly new. But all these, the immersive reader, the dictation, it's all been around for a long time. And you'll also see in Microsoft Excel this afternoon, many of those AI components has been with us for really, really quite a long time. We don't even realize it. And we don't even realize that it's AI. But yeah, that's the story. So for me let me just go and move a little bit down. So I want to talk to my computer now, to Microsoft Word to be precise. For that, I go to the Home tab, move away from View where my immersive reader is, go to the Home tab, and then there's a Dictate. I hope it's going to work. I've tested it. Yesterday it didn't want to work, so let's hold. Thumbs here. So I'm going to go to Dictate and choose Dictate instead of Transcribe. Transcribe will show me the text, but that's something for another day. So I go to Dictate. It immediately, oh, there you go. It's already switched on. Let me just switch it off first. There you go. And let me just get rid of this because that's not what I want to have. So I can switch it back on here. I can also go to the settings and choose which microphone to use, also which language to choose, but you can do that in your own time. So let me go to the dictation, and then whatever I'm going to say will appear on my screen. As you can see in Microsoft Word, as you can see, it does not use punctuation, which is a pity, but you can just go and put in commas and full stops, punctuation, whatever you want to do, make it capital letters. Look at that. What? No. Can you remember at school, your teachers made a mistake and then they said, oh, I did that on purpose. I could have said the same thing, but I really didn't do it on purpose. AI, it picked up that I'm not happy with the punctuation that was, I don't know if you've seen I am was not in, the I was not in a capital letter, the M for Word and Microsoft was also not in capital letters. I can switch off, and then of course I can go and I can of course change wanna. That's how I talk, looks like it. You can go and change whatever you want to change, capital letters, commas, new paragraphs, maybe click there, do a new paragraph. How is that for artificial intelligence built into Microsoft Word for quite a while? And you can decide, but I think it can save a lot of time. I know my dad, he makes such a lot of spelling errors when he was still alive. And I said to him, please just use this because his English is quite good. Please just use the dictation option. Right. Without any further ado, let me go and show you how to create a table of contents. Now, that is most definitely not new and most probably not even real AI built in, but it is so handy to know how to use that. So let me give you a demonstration. I'm not most probably going to do the full Monty here. Let me just go to the correct option, right? I don't want to save that. Let me just make sure. No, I don't want to save that. Cool, here we go. Table of contents. I have a document, which I will show you in a moment. This is more of a complete document. It consists of certain countries with their regions and with the cities. And here it is. So there are different countries, South Africa, with a short paragraph. The Western Cape is one of the regions or with a small short paragraph. A city, Cape Town in Western Cape, Stellenbosch, Paternoster, each with a little paragraph to say something about it. Then, apart from the Western Cape, underneath South Africa, we have Gauteng with a couple of cities in Gauteng. Then we go to the USA with a couple of cities in the USA. So I'm going to show you in this document, a blank one, how you can create a table of contents, which is most probably also quite intelligent, without doing a lot. Just easy peasy, create a table of content. So let me hit over and let's go for the table of content master. Before I do that, I just want to make a copy so that I don't fiddle with my original. So here we go. How do I do that? So as you can see, here is a blank document already typed, and I can just go and create my table of content. So before I start, I just want to press enter twice about to make sure for the table of content that I want to fit in there. Now, we're going to talk about styles, numbering style, and also heading styles. First of all, heading styles. Maybe you have not even noticed yet that the styles are over there. All depending on the size of your screen, your styles might even be more spaced out. So let me right click and add this to the quick access toolbar. There it is. So I don't even have to go and look for it anywhere. There it is, sorry, there it is. Now you'll notice, but I'm going to activate it here so that you can see it more clearly in the middle of the screen. You'll notice it has a heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and heading 4. And believe you me, it goes up to heading 9. Now imagine this. Heading 1 can be your typical, I'm not going to use the numbering style though. There is a combination, but not for today. Heading 1 can be something like the first point 1. Heading 2 can be something similar, just to explain this, 1.1. Heading 3, 1.1.1. So it's 3 levels. Heading 4, 1.1.1.1. And you can go up to 1.1.1.1.19 levels down if you like. I've never used that before, I must admit. So many levels. So first of all my countries is going to be level heading 1. So that's the main heading. All my regions within the country is going to be level heading 2. And all my cities within the regions is going to be level 3 or heading 3. So here we go. I select my first heading, not going to do any numbering. Style, heading 1. Now what it does, it automatically formats it as well. Let me just undo this and show you what I mean. At this point in time, the font is Avenir, 12 font size, no bolds, nothing, no coloring. So once I apply the style, it automatically changed it to Calibri, which is okay. Bold it, and it changed the font size to 14. If this is not what I want, I can go and change the font to maybe a green. That is one of my business colors. I can keep it at bold. I can do a 14, leave it like that. I think it's a good idea. But I can go from Calibri to maybe Cambria or Avenir that I had. There you go. There it is. I love that font. Love, love, love it. So there it is. So all my countries is now going to be Avenir, 14, bold, and green. That's what I want for heading 1. So how can I ensure that heading 1 now for the rest of this document will be in that particular font? I go back to styles while I have South Africa highlighted, one country. Go back there, right click on heading 1. Why is it changed now? Right click. Oh, I've clicked on it. I just have to right click immediately and go to update heading 1 to match the selected area. There you go. So now all my heading 1s. So let's go and find, there's another country. So I select it and I go for, heading 1. There you go. Now that country, which is the next country, France. There's another way around this. There's another way. I'll show you that as well. I'm taking the long way, but it's no wrong way. The long way is not the wrong way. What else do we have as a country here? Italy. Must actually select a little bit better. Not always possible. Okay, you can get into trouble when you do the numbering, when you don't select properly. And also Australia, I think that's the last one. I think I'm correct there. Okay, now at this point in time, let's go and save. Save is important. Please, guys, save is very important. Save before you start with anything. Mine is already saved. And save as you go along, then you will never lose anything. That is a promise. Okay, let me just format my heading. Also to green. It's already in Avenir. Let's make that 16 and let's center that. Oops, bold is also a good idea. There you go. So I left a space open for my table of contents, and here I go. Go to the reference tab. You can always right click and add it to your quick access toolbar. go to my table of contents. So there are only a couple of styles available, but it's fine. You can change it. You can go to town if you like with this. I'm going to add this. As you can see, it caters for heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and it's going to indent it a little bit as it goes along. But let's just choose and see how far we got. There you go. South Africa, US, France, Italy, and Australia. And it even indicates to you the exact page number for this, this selection. Okay, so let me just go and undo this. Lovely. And now let's go and go for the regions. So I select the Western Cape. See how easy this is. It's one of those things. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. You might not even know that it's available. That's my point, mainly for today's session, showing you this. Let's head back to the Home tab. Although I could have clicked, where is my style now? It disappeared. Oh, you see, there it is. I have too many. So let me right click on spelling and grammar and remove it to make space for my styles. There you go. So I can go back to styles, but I'll still show you on the, can go back to styles and I can choose heading 2. And obviously it's going to take the formatting that is already the default formatting, as we call it. So I'm going to select this as heading 2 because I want that to be a little bit indented to show South Africa is the city and Western Cape is the region. Once again, I'm not too happy. Let's stick to the blue. Let's stick to the blue. But we definitely need to change this to Avenir because we need to meet the exact formatting style. And also quite intelligent of Microsoft Word. The next level is now 13 and the third level might be 12, I suggest. I think it's going to be like that. So instead of me now moving to all the other regions and select and format it as heading 1 style, I'm going to use this intelligent format painter. There it is. So while I have the Western Cape selected, and I just have to see which are the different regions. I don't know the UK that well. So Western Cape is one of the regions, Gauteng is another one. So what I'll do is I'll select heading 2 on Western Cape, double click on my format painter. The reason for double click is if I click once, it's going to apply the style to all the only one other region. If I double click, I can apply it until I'm done through in the document and I can just go back. So I'm going to double click on the format painter. As you can see, I hope it's not too small. It's following me there. So we're going to go to Gauteng and select Gauteng. There you go. We're also going to go to, oh, that's it. Then in the USA, one of the regions or states, as they call it, is New York. And the other one is California. There you go. Just want to California. Then when it comes to France, the first region is Provence. My French is good, hey? And then the next one is, oh, I hope I'll be able, this is the next one. I'm not going to mention that. There you go. And you could carry on like that. Once you've painted, formatted all the, copy the formatting. I'm not going to go any further because this is a demonstration. I'll just switch off my format painter. It's a little bit like training as well. Go back, click where I want the table of contents to be generated. Go to the reference tab and choose the first style again. And look at that. So now that's South Africa with the Western Cape and Gauteng, the 2 regions. The US, France, and Italy. Italy, I did not format the regions, and Australia, I didn't do that. Just want to show you what this looks like. Cool. Now let's undo this and let's just go and apply a couple of cities. Show you. Select it, go to the Home tab back, go to Styles and choose Heading 3. Heading 3, I think just for the sake of interest or to make let you see the difference, going to choose that red color, a little bit of a mixed color situation. Also, oops, I don't want it. I want it 12, otherwise it's smaller than the original text. And actually, let's stick, no, okay, let's go for 12. Otherwise, it's going to waste time here. And let's go for Avenir. Go back to the style, right click on it. Yeah, right click on it and update the matching style. Now I can take this style, copy it again, double click and paint it. Johannesburg is a city of Gauteng. Pretoria is a city. Oh, I believe the name has changed. I have to up my game there. Midrand is one. Then it will, when it comes to New York City is a city in New York region. Can you believe that? Makes a lot of sense. Nee. Buffalo and that one. And when it comes to California, Los Angeles is one of the cities in California. I'm going to switch off my format painter and I'll show you. You can even select, go to style and apply the updated style here. There you go. Now let's go and see what this looks like. Let me just save. Oops, not save as. Pardon me. Save. There you go. Save as will give it another name and or another place where you want to save. That's not for today. Click where I want to generate my table of contents, go to reference, choose the first option, and there you have it. Look at that. Was that tricky? Not at all. Oops. Oh yeah, I thought this is incorrect. So we have South Africa as this country. We have Western Cape and Gauteng as the regions, and we have the 3 cities on each one. USA is the country. New York and California, as you can see, a little bit indented as this font looks not correct, but okay, that we can sort out at a later stage. And New York and California are the regions, and in each region, New York has 3 cities and California has 2, and then France still have only the 2 regions, and Italy and Australia is only still showing as the countries. But each and every one of these has a leader, ... with the page number attached to that. When someone opens this document or you open the document and you click in the table of contents, look at that first page, and you go click on, let's say, Stellenbosch, yep, my town, it jumps immediately to Stellenbosch within that document. How intelligent is that? With you only selecting. So actually all you've done is you formatted it, definitely, with a particular style, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. That's it. Now let me go and show you another style. I hope you found that quite interesting if you don't know that yet. Let me go and show you another style which is also very, very handy. And that is my numbering. I'm going to use the exact same document again. But this time around, I can have a table of contents, but I didn't do that. South Africa is number 1. Western Cape is 1.1. Cape Town, Stellenbosch, and Paternoster is 1.1.1, 2, and 3. And then Gauteng is 1.2, because South Africa is 1. USA is 2, New York is 2.1, and so it goes. So let me go, and this is my final document. Let's go and copy and paste the numbering master, and I can share these documents with you if you want. Then you can practice. What I've done is I've already formatted the headings in the sense of the coloring. That just makes it a little bit easier for us to know which it's wished regarding the country and the region. just in case I get lost somewhere along the line. But it does not need to be formatted at all. Guys, have you noticed something? And I firmly believe this. I know, honestly, I know. It's not always possible. Because when you type a document, you need to apply the formatting as you go, especially when it comes to the numbering style. But believe me today, now I want to sneeze. The best way to go about this is I am so sorry. I mean, now this is in recording forever. Oh, I try not to. The best way is to finish your document and then go back and apply numbering style, heading styles, and so on. If possible, try that. When I help MBA or PhD students, and they ask me to please help them with the formatting because they are involved in the content and they really don't want to or have time to or need the extra frustration to do the formatting, the numbering style. Their numbering styles are sometimes so complicated. I said to them, have you already started? I asked them with the formatting. And I'm so happy when they say no. So what I said to them is just go and type your heart out. Don't do any bolds, italics. I'm so sorry. Any formatting, nothing, and send it to me. Then, because if they already started and tried, believe you me, it's such a mess. It is such a mess. So what I then do, I just clear the formatting. So I select the whole document, and on the Home tab, I go to this button, Clear Formatting. So that's also another hint for the day. And everything changes back to the default font and the default font size. And then I can start and do exactly what I'm going to start doing now. When you use the numbering style, it is important. Oh my goodness, so sorry. It is important that you select correctly. What I mean by that is the following. Let's start. So I select South Africa, not like that, but like that. Really just the text. Otherwise, you can get into trouble. And I'll show you, I am going to get into trouble. So I'll show you how it works and what I mean. There is some method in my madness, mostly always, right? So try and believe me here, if you want, if you can. When I know I'm going to use 1, 1.1, 1.2, and so forth, do not click on the old numbering style that you are, not old, but the numbering style that you are used to. We all use that one, always. If you know you're going to hit 1.1, even if it's on page 5, 1.1.1, page 5, you start off with the next option when it comes to bullets, numbering, and it's called outline numbering. What it does, it also indents the numbering as it did with the table of contents, the different heading styles. You can work around that, but that's not for today. That we can tackle in next level training or what we plan to do, what you plan to do. So I'm going to start off. So it's sort of like switching it on. Outline numbering, and I'll choose this option. Can you see the 9 levels? I was not mad there. It's 9 levels. So I'm going to choose this one. As I said, you can always have the indent moving to the left again. So here are a couple of styles, AI and so on. These are for the PhD documents. I use that all the time. Okay, but let me just switch this on. Time is nearly out. It once again, it looks like it has made it larger than 12. It's not. It just looks like it. It also formatted the number 1 to green. If you don't want that, we can work around that. Then I want my paragraph about South Africa also underneath, underlined. It doesn't have to be, but I prefer it that way. So very close to your numbering style you've switched on, your outline numbering style. You have a button called indent. Please don't use your space bar. Indent it. And yes, straight underneath. Western Cape, I just click there. I don't even have to select it, but I prefer selecting it, but you don't have to. So I'm going to click there. Once again, go back to my outline numbering style. There is a shorter cut when you use the format painter. There you go, but it is not number 2. Can you see it didn't blue it? But we don't not going to worry about that today. We can work around that. This is going to be 1.1. It will do it too, always. But if you go to that very same indent, while the number 2 is selected, it will give you a 1.1. There you go. Then let's do the paragraph as an indent, another indent, and believe you me, another one. There you go. Now it's straight. So let's go for Cape Town. Cape Town, I'll go as fast as possible here. It will do a number 2. There is a shorter way around this, but this is the fail-proof way. Believe you me. Do that. Perfect. Then the paragraph 1, 2, 3 indents, I know by now. Look at that. Look at that. Once again to the numbering, outline numbering style. Stellenbosch is another city, so it's 1.3. Am I right here? No. I'm not right here. Cape Town should be 1.1.1. Thank you for helping me there, guys. There you go. So I just indent the numbering style. And this, of course, I have to, there you go. There you go. Stellenbosch is a city, so it's 1.1.2. Can you see? South Africa, Western Cape, click, indent, indent, indent. Perfect. Paternoster, again there, again there. As I said, there is a quicker way, but this is the fail-proof one. There you go. Perfect. Then also, perfect. There you go. Gauteng is now once again there, but this is not 2 because it's not a country, but it is 1.2 as the next city. Isn't that as the next region? Pardon me. Then you go and indent. I'm just watching the time. This is a 1.3. Don't worry, don't do the whole document. This is a demonstration. One more, 1.2.1. How amazing is this? I still find it, been working with this for so many years. I just find it astonishing. Regtig waar. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, sometimes. Okay. And okay, a last one. And so it goes. Let's just do a last one. There you go. And then indent this twice because it is a city as well of the Gauteng province. And indent, you don't have to indent the paragraphs if you don't want to. I cannot do it without that. And so it will go. And you will just do a 1 for US, a 2 for US, pardon me, a 2.1 for New York as the region, or what do they call it, state. And then New York City will then a 2.1.1. Let's quickly do that. There you go. Automatically indented. Now, see, now that's blue, but okay. It's the way I have formatted it when I chose the colors. And we can indent that, super. We can indent that, super. And then last but not least, 2.2.1. Okay, that needs to be indented a little bit more. And this must be 1, 2, 3. There you go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And there it is. We can do the layout of the numberings later. 1, 1.1, 1.1. So what is the secret? The secret is your very first numbering must be activated not on the 1, 2, 3 that you are so used to using, but on the outline numbering style. Okie dokie. So I'm going to save that. So we've done the dictate. We've done the view tab, the immersive reader. There you go. But I showed you on the online version. We've done 2 styles, very, very handy styles according to me, the numbering style as well as the heading 1, 2, and 3. Now the heading style is back to its default because this is a total different document that I've used, although it's the exact same content in that. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. That's what I've had in mind.